Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jesse with Jpro Dumpster Rental, and today I want to talk about the differences between our standard roll-off containers and our driveway-friendly dumpsters on wheels. A lot of our customers have been asking the differences between these two styles of units because, well, the information is just not really out there really to show the differences between the two and which one might be right for your specific project. So we're going to go over a few of those key things today to kind of give you an idea of which unit you may want to choose when it comes time for you to rent your next dumpster. Now, in front of us here, what we have is a standard roll-off container. Now, this is our 15 cubic yard roll-off container, and as you can see, it does sit directly on the ground. Now, we can put wood underneath the roll-off container to keep it from contacting your driveway, but for purposes of this video, we are in my personal driveway, so I'm not too worried about it. So let's talk about some of the differences. So seeing how this thing does sit directly on the driveway, that does keep it very low. So the sides on this unit are only 4 foot tall, so that means you can walk up to the side of this unit or the front or the back and just throw things in right over the side with ease. Now, if you've got heavier, bulkier items, there is an easier option when loading these standard roll-off containers. We do have these double doors back here on the back that open up, which means you can walk directly in through the back there and load those heavy, bulky items. Pretty much, I mean, it's really, really simple to load these things. It is very easy, and that is one of the reasons they have been so popular, and they have been used for so many years in so many different applications. And again, you walk up to the side here, you can see you can just toss stuff right over the side here, which is very, very convenient. Now, let's talk about one of the reasons why a lot of people may not be able to have a container like this. So in some cases, people live on steep driveways, or the place where they want it is steep, or maybe they have overhead obstacles such as tree limbs or power lines and things like that, which mean it would prove to be either difficult and sometimes impossible for us to be able to place one of these standard roll-off containers exactly where our customers want it. So that's where sometimes where our dumpster on wheels comes in handy, because with those, it's pretty simple. We just back it up with a pickup truck right to where you want it, unhook it, and it's all good. With these units, we do have to have enough space with overhead clearance where we can raise our hoist up and get these things to come off of the truck. And the other thing is, a lot of customers we've talked to, even though we've told them that we can put wood between the concrete and the container to protect your surfaces, a lot of customers are just not comfortable with a big steel container sitting on their driveway. And while that is understandable, these little white marks that you see down there on the bottom there, it's almost like sidewalk chalk, because after a few months they do eventually go away. So there's no real potential harm there in most cases, but I do understand where customers are coming from. You pay a lot of money for your home, so you want to make sure you protect it as much as you can. So let's walk over and let's look at our driveway safe dumpster on wheels. And I'm sure you can already tell the difference here. So this is the same load capacity as 15 cubic yards, still has 4 foot sides, it's still 7.5 feet wide, and it's still 14 feet long. So you can fit the exact same amount of debris into this unit, but the difference is it's sitting on rubber tires. So even if you're on a steep incline where we can't necessarily sit down one of our roll-off containers, because again, we do need at least a somewhat flat surface to be able to sit them down on safely. Even if you do have that steep driveway, we're still going to be able, in most cases, to get this unit sat down on a steep area, because what we do is we have these really big rubber tire chocks, and we also have tire locks that will lock these tires into place, so we can place this on steep surfaces. And a lot of people, that's pretty much all they have for a driveway. It's just a really steep hill. So we want to be able to service every customer that we possibly can, and we do the best that we can to make sure that we're providing the best service possible. So let's go over some of the key features of this unit and what makes it so different. I showed you the convenience of the 15-yard roll-off container, and we've already talked about the conveniences of the dumpster on wheels. Basically, we've went over that. Oh, and the other thing I didn't touch on was with these rubber tires, there's not really going to be any evidence of ever having a dumpster there, period, because again, they're sitting on rubber tires, which is the same, about the equivalence of an SUV. Now, if I take a zoom back here, you can see that's a Ford Explorer, and there's our 15-yard container. So you can see, as far as width and height and things like that, the dumpster is obviously bigger than the SUV, but it's going to take up around the same footprint, not too much bigger as far as being able to fit it into really tight spaces. And that's another really key factor I wanted to mention before we go over the cons of this style of a unit. Now, again, a lot of people don't have a choice. If you're on a steep hill or you want the dumpster, say, in your backyard, and you don't want to leave any evidence that it was ever there, a lot of people, they would assume, you know, they have to have a unit like this, which is why we carry these units. So the cons to this unit is going to be, number one, it sits about 2.5 feet to 3 feet off of the ground, depending on which one we bring you. Now, this is one that's kind of in the middle. It's about 2.5 feet off the ground. So even though it still has the 4-foot sides, let me walk up to it here. You can see my shadow. So my head is right here. Okay, so, and I'm 5'9", so you still got quite a bit of distance there to be able to throw things over the top. So I can barely reach the top of this unit where it's sitting at right now, because it does have that added 2.5 feet. So loading things over the sides, either in the front or the sides or the back and things like that, like you can with the roll-off container, will prove to be pretty difficult with this unit, but it is possible. I wouldn't recommend it just because of safety and things like that, but it is possible if that's what you should choose to do. Now, this unit does also have the same style of double doors on the back that open up, that give you complete access to the dumpster. But again, the difference is it's going to be sitting 2.5 to 3 feet off of the ground. So you're not going to be able to just walk right into this unit once you get those doors open. You're going to have to step up 2.5 to 3 feet to be able to start loading this unit, which is not as difficult as it may sound, but it's still not as convenient as a traditional roll-off container, such as this one over here. So I hope that I've covered most of the differences between these two kinds of units and why we carry both styles. So maybe you guys can make a better informed decision on which style of unit you may want to rent for your next project. Now, let me get right here. Okay. So if any of you guys are interested in renting a dumpster, or when you're ready to pull the trigger on one later on down the road, give us a call at 770-558-9535, or you can visit our website at www.jprodumpster.com.